something extra, we might be, in a sense, forgotten. Or sometimes I use the expression through benign neglect. And that is the underlying reason why I'm here in the States. And why it is important for us to connect with the various sectors in the United States, because otherwise we will not be on the radar screen. And there are other countries, bigger countries, that are more compelling, that will attract the attention of the corporate sector here. So we do need to do that bit extra. And we're doing this because we have a good story to tell. The Malaysian story is a good story, and a story that must be told. And told in the way that we present it as what it is. The real truth, the facts, the figures. And that compelling story about Malaysia is when it is told, people will begin to appreciate us. And people will look at Malaysia as another opportunity for them. And basically, the corporate here and elsewhere in the world, for that matter, they are looking for opportunities. So there are opportunities in Malaysia. We have to create more and more opportunities. Yes, we've done well, and we must do even better. When I spoke with the corporate sector this morning and over lunch, that was my message. And the feedback I got from them was that, yes, you have done well, but we want you to do even better. For example, you have relisted Maxis. Yes, but we want to know more. We want to see more of that happening in Malaysia, to create the depth in the capital market, to create the liquidity in the capital market. They want us to create opportunities. And if we create opportunities, then you will become very much more focused, or be very much in the attention, in the consideration of the fund managers, for people to invest in equity market, for people to take part in terms of some of the syndicated loans. And they have confidence in Malaysia. We're not starting from zero base, we're starting from a good position. But it can be further enhanced. And we have to take with us as well some of the feedbacks we hear. What is it? Can we do even better? That's the question I posed to them this morning. Tell me how we can do even better. And I want to take it back with me. And I want to do even better for Malaysia, now and in the future. I believe we cannot stand still. If we stand still, we will be left behind. 15 years ago, we were in the forefront because the new players were not emerging. China was not considered yet to be a market economy 15 years ago. India was basically closed up economy. Vietnam was not seen to be offering much opportunities. But today, 15 years, 20 years down the road, options are plenty. China is very alluring with this huge domestic market. India, despite all the problems of bureaucracy in India, as they say, the British invented bureaucracy, the Indian perfected bureaucracy. But India is doing, despite all that, India is doing very well. Then there's Vietnam. How much the world has changed. It struck me when the president of Vietnam, when we met President Obama in Singapore recently during APEC, we had ASEAN plus United States meeting, when I heard the President of Vietnam saying in this intervention, let us have an annual dialogue with the United States. It struck me how much the world has changed. The President of Vietnam saying this to the President of the United States. It goes to show the world has changed so much, and therefore Malaysia has to reposition itself. We cannot go on the basis that, oh, you have done very well in the past, therefore you will continue to do well. No. And if you're, a student of economics, I suppose, you would have heard of the S curve. You might do very well, but after a while you will plateau. And to avoid us plateauing, you have to initiate changes and reforms. Once you initiate changes and reform, then you avoid the plateauing. You then go up. The graph, the trajectory then goes up. And that is exactly, conceptually, this is what we have to do in Malaysia. Because I believe if we don't do anything, if we don't reform, make fundamental changes in the way we do things in Malaysia, then we are going to plateau. You will reach the top of the S curve. And that is going to be disastrous for us. So my mission as Prime Minister is to make sure we do not plateau as a nation. But instead, we will move to a higher trajectory. But it requires huge effort. I used the word gargantuan today, twice. It's a monumental effort to change. There's a lot of inertia against change. People are very comfortable with what they are used to doing. It takes a huge effort to change people, to change their mindset, to change their behavior. And how do you change people's behavior? You can't change people's behavior by just making statements or rhetoric, but you've got to put in place a system. I believe in systemic approach. You create a system that will compel people to change their behavior. And how do we do this? Well, you must have read we've decided to go on this national key result area, national key performance indicators, so that in the government we'll be more focused, because there are specific targets to achieve. And once you know there are certain specific targets, you will be assessed. The ministers will be assessed by the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister will be assessed by the people. And we are all going to be assessed at one time or another. By what we do, we are going to set very high standards. And I only believe that if you only set high standards, that's the only way that you can transform people's behavior. And if you can transform people's behavior, then you will transform the whole nation in due process. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the task I have ahead for myself and for the nation. I know I can't do it myself. I need